Hi. Welcome to Once Upon a Time channel. We will tell an interesting story for you. Enjoy watching. The story of the film Life of Pi begins with the appearance of a young writer in Canada hearing the news that a man of Indian descent named Pi Patel has a very interesting life story to serve as a source for his book. The writer then met the man named Pi at his house. After a short chat, Pi then began to tell about his unusual life story. He started from his childhood story. Pi said that his father named him Piscine Muralidhar Patel after taking inspiration from the name of a famous French swimming pool. Pi grew up in a small town in India called Pondicherry. When Pi was in junior high school, Pi was often teased by his friends because of his name. Therefore, Pi tries to make his name sound cooler by saying that the name Pi actually represents the Greek character pi, which is also commonly used in mathematics. The Pi family actually has a Hindu religious background. However, he later also decided to embrace Christianity and Islam at the same time. He thought that this would allow him to be closer to and love God. Pi's choice became a source of pros and cons in his family. Pi's mother is happy to see Pi's curiosity about religion and supports him in exploring his spiritual side. Meanwhile, Pi's father, who is a scientist and always puts rationality first, pushes Pi to put religiosity aside. He says that having three beliefs at once means not believing in one thing. Pi's father is a scientist who owns a large zoo in the city. Since childhood, Pi grew close to various animals from his family's zoo collection. One of the animals that caught Pi's attention the most was a Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. One day, Pi and his curious brother approached Richard Parker's stable. As Richard Parker steps closer to them, his brother moves away, while Pi remains unmoved. Before anything bad happened, Pi's father came and scolded Pi for doing such a dangerous thing. To give Pi a deterrent effect, Pi's father then told Pi to watch as Richard Parker pounced on a live goat as food. The years passed. Pi has now grown into a 16-year-old teenager. He even starts to get close to one of the girls in his town. However, one day, Pi's father says that their family is moving to Canada. There, they will stay forever. Their family-owned zoo is planned to be closed. Their collection of animals will also be brought to Canada to be sold there. The Patels headed to Canada aboard a Japanese ship on a journey that would take several days. The cook who worked on the ship was a bad man who served their family badly. In the middle of the voyage, suddenly there was a terrible storm that tossed the ship. Pi is on the deck trying to find his family. But before he could find them, a crew member threw Pi into a small rescue boat. Before the boat crashes into the sea, a panicked zebra jumps off the deck of the boat into the boat with Pi. The jump broke the zebra's leg and made the poor animal unable to move. Moments later, the Japanese ship on which the Patel family was traveling finally sank into the Mariana Trench. Apart from Pi, no one survived, including Pi's family. Even so, Pi briefly saw a shadow around him that he thought was one of the survivors. Turns out, the shadow was just Richard Parker, who seemed to have managed to escape from the sinking ship. The rescue boat that Pi was on was a small wooden boat painted white, half covered by a white tarpaulin. Underneath the cloth was a survival guide and a small supply of food. After the storm has passed, Pi finds himself in the same boat with a zebra and a cunning orangutan. As he covers the tarpaulin that partially covers the boat, he finds a ferocious hyena trying to attack him. Pi tries to retreat as far as possible to the other end of the boat. The hyena then attacked the sick and weak zebra. He also killed the orangutan who tried to fight back. Not long after, suddenly Richard Parker also appeared from behind the tarpaulin. He came out and killed the hyena. Then he calmly went back to hiding under the tarpaulin for the next few days. Pi realized that Richard Parker's nature would sooner or later put him at risk. Therefore, he finally started to make an artificial raft that he assembled from the life jacket and the makeshift materials that he could find on the boat. The raft was used by Pi for him to climb so he could keep his distance from Richard Parker, who was still living in the boat. Pi actually doesn't like killing animals. However, in order to survive, he began to learn how to fish and catch fish in the waters around him. Pi's catch turned out to be enough to meet his food needs, and even for Richard Parker's food too. One day, Richard Parker jumped into the ocean to catch fish directly. However, Pi noticed that Richard Parker was also slowly moving towards him. Pi returned to the boat. Meanwhile, as a land animal who by nature is not good at swimming, Richard Parker begins to run out of energy and almost drowns. Pi thinks that his life on the boat would have been much easier without Richard Parker's presence. However, he then saw the look in Richard Parker's eyes that aroused compassion in him. Finally, Pi helps Richard Parker get back into the boat while he gets back on the raft. One night, a large whale suddenly passed near their boat. The movement of the whale caused a stir in the ocean that eventually destroyed Pi's raft and any supplies left on it. Since then, Pi has had nowhere to go from Richard Parker. He decided that he should start training Richard Parker so he could live with him in the same boat. It worked. Pi can make Richard Parker understand boundaries that should not be crossed. Meanwhile, their condition was getting worse day by day. Pi had no idea where they were and how much longer they would be adrift on the open sea. At one point, the frail Richard Parker ends up unconscious in Pi's lap. A few weeks later, they came to a strange island full of creepers. In it, Pi and Richard Parker find a forest filled with meerkats, freshwater sources, and various types of edible plants. Without wasting a chance, Pi and Richard Parker immediately recharged with water and food sources in the forest. When night fell, Richard Parker returned to the boat. Meanwhile, Pi climbs up a tree with a herd of meerkats. In the tree, Pi finds a human tooth in a flower. Apparently, at night, the island turns into a dangerous place. The springs on the island turned into a pool of acidic water that killed the fish in it. Pi concludes that the island is a carnivorous island that can prey on every living thing that lives on it. The next morning, Pi and Richard Parker left the island and drifted back for days. In the end, Pi and Richard Parker were stranded on the coast of Mexico, thin and weak. Pi was devastated because as soon as they arrived on land, Richard Parker immediately pulled away and went into the woods. When the tiger walked away, he didn't even look at Pi. Pi was rescued by the locals and hospitalized. When his condition improved, he told the story to the insurance officer of the Japanese ship that transported them. However, they did not believe it. Pi then replaces the characters in his story with real humans. In this second version, the hyena represents the evil cook, the zebra is the captain of the ship, and the orangutan is Pi's mother. The insurance guys still couldn't believe it, but they left and didn't bother Pi anymore. At the end of this story, the young writer who interviewed Pi realized that in the second story, Pi was Richard Parker. Pi asked the young writer which version of the story he preferred and the young writer answered the former. Pi says that just like the miracle in the first story, so will all matters relating to God. This story the end. Conclusion of Life of Pi. Life of Pi is a rich film with deep philosophy and reflection. This film presents an evocative message about the relationship between humans and humans, humans and living beings, and humans and God. Various visuals in this film are also very stunning and spoil the eye. Thank you for watching. Click like, share, and subscribe to support our channel to grow up. Have a nice day.